Alrighty, we're going to take her home from here, aren't we?
Well, Rudy, we
Yes,
are.
sir. 9:37 here in LJ, 76 degrees. Going to be a hot weekend. You're the weather expert. What are we doing this weekend on weather?
We're going to have rain.
We are.
Yeah.
How about tomorrow? Are we going to be okay at Sycamore?
We should be okay in the morning.
Okay. But coming in?
I swear.
All right. Yeah. Okay. We're going to leave the weather. We're going to leave the decision as to where we meet tomorrow to Josh. He'll take a look at the weather for us. He's the man in the control room, and we appreciate him a lot. He makes it look seamless. We just sit back here and babble, but he's the one at the controls. He brings it to you every morning. He gets in here at the crack of dawn, and he even makes Brian look good. That's tough duty.
And he's
every
on
day.
the same 13th floor as us in the high rise in LJ.
Anyway, we're going to keep it light in the last half hour, the last 20 minutes, I guess, 9:38 already. And, just kind of pop around and look at some of the stuff going on around the country, around the world. What do you got first?
Let's do zingers.
We'll go back and forth.
St. Louis Park, Minnesota,
Woo-hoo!
the city council that said they were going to stop the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag.
Yeah, and justice for all. Well, they've reversed that. They voted unanimously to do it, and they got so much blowback that they voted unanimously to bring it back. So the Pledge of Allegiance is back in St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
A lot of public outcry on that one. A lot of
Indeed.
veterans groups rallying and
Just
people wearing their
just constituents. You
Yeah.
know, saying, this is crazy. I mean,
stupid stuff.
yeah.
Saw this morning that the Crystal Cathedral,
Ooh,
Garden Grove, California.
Robert Schuller.
Yeah, Robert Schuller's old stomping grounds. He passed away, and upon his passing, apparently it fell into disrepair, and the money stopped coming in. So who bought it? To the rescue, the Catholic Church.
All right.
Paid $60 million for the Crystal Cathedral.
Money to spend.
Money to spend. Yeah, exactly. They spent $72 million, folks, on renovating the Crystal Cathedral, and they want to make it the iconic showplace of the West Coast for the Catholic Church. A lot of dough.
You can't make this up.
Yep.
You just can't make it up.
What else you got, Bob?
We talked a little bit on the show, maybe 6 weeks ago, about with all the rain that has hit the center of the country, that farming is very, very much under the gun in terms of getting crops in the field. And I was talking with a lady yesterday from Chicago who drove from Memphis down to Louisiana, and she said there's places in Mississippi and Louisiana that the water was just puddled in the field. So we said at the time 6 weeks ago, shortages in wheat, corn, and
Cotton. How about cotton?
Yeah, affiliated products. And also I just read another article that three building blocks of our modern society, helium, sand, and phosphorus, are all in short supply, and that affects concrete, that affects metal, that affects fertilizer. So
Party balloons with the helium.
Yeah. You can talk funny too. Yeah, so just to be aware, there's some shortages coming in various things, and it won't be necessarily in these base things. It could be affiliated food products. So
No avocado shortage as of now, though, right?
no, and the tortillas are back in Taco Bell. So.
Okay, good. We got that.
Yeah.
We got that squared away. Anybody who didn't see it last night ought to check out a clip of the Five. Every once in a while, they have a special guest that comes in on the Five and does a small segment with them. Dr. Drew came in.
Pinsky.
What's that?
Pinsky, right? Dr. Drew Pinsky?
Yeah, he does a radio show out based on the West Coast.
Oh.
And he has been espousing for the longest time that the homelessness in Los Angeles and San Francisco will produce enough rats to cause typhoid.
Hey.
How shameless is that on the... I guess maybe that's why they're trying to recall the mayor in L.A.
Well, yeah, good luck with that.
But
with rats come fleas. With fleas come other diseases.
Exactly. He said, how many people have to die before we do something about it. And in his own inimitable fashion, our favorite Jamaican, Juan Williams, he said, well, you know what? It's all being contrived by Orkin. What? Oh, yeah.
Where'd he get that?
It's just, I think his whole charge on that show is
You sure it wasn't Terminex?
Yeah, is to make sure that he comes up with something
Totally inane.
totally, well, not necessarily only inane, but in total contradiction to what the other side is saying. He's a token liberal. Okay, I get it, and that's what makes for good talk show banter. But to just throw out something like it's all being contrived by Orkin was just such. And now let me tell you, if you're on Twitter, the Twitter feeds just lit up. I mean, they were on fire with those comments.
Oh boy,
He really took a blistering. So.
I can imagine. I mean, it's almost like if you could think of something that's causing all the immigrants to come here and put that label on it and say, okay, it's all contrived by fill in the blank.
Well, yeah, but the isn't there a whole new outbreak of Ebola?
Yes. Some guy who had Ebola got on a bus and I think it was
Get on the bus, Gus.
Nigeria. No, Democratic Republic of Congo,
Yep.
DRC.
Yeah.
Got on a bus, drove, hundreds of kilometers with all these people on the bus to Goma, which is a hub in DRC, a city of 2 million people. And now he's exposed umpteen known numbers of people to Ebola. So good luck with that. The Democratic Republic of Congo keeping it controlled.
Keeping it in your own borders, okay?
No.
Wait, do they have borders? I'm sure they
They
do.
have borders, but
Yeah.
they're regularly, just ignored.
That's why they have borders, because that's why they're a country, because they actually do have borders, huh?
Well, speaking of borders and
What a
asylum
concept.
law,
There you go.
I got something from the Department of Justice. We've talked about all these people seeking asylum. There are 5 basis reasons to claim asylum in the U.S.
Now, that's what the majority of the Democrats are saying. These are peace-loving people that are doing nothing but seeking asylum, right?
The seeking
From the
asylum
5?
from or because. No, but the reasons you can get into the U.S. are race, religion, nationality, political opinion, and here comes the tough one, membership in a particular social group that government in your home country views as a threat. Well, this has proven to be the most difficult to deal with because this covers ethnic groups, educated elite who are suddenly on the outs, family members of dissidents, occupational groups, homosexuals, and former members of the police or military. Okay? Now, our former president, Barack Hussein Obama, back in 2014, said this at a meeting talking about immigration. Refugee status is not granted just based on economic need or because a family lives in a bad neighborhood or poverty. It's typically defined very narrowly, such as political activists and need to get out of the country for fear of prosecution of death. It's very clear that asylum law now in the U.S. has been, perverted. Basically, he also went on to say that general civil strife, bad economic conditions, private acts of violence, interpersonal disputes, private criminal activity, that sort of thing, are not the basis for asylum. That's what everybody's coming here for. They're not having a good go of it in their home country. There's a little bit of agitation. Here they come. And they're getting in. Excuse me.
And the ICE raids that were conducted last weekend, those ICE raids, folks, are a result of a court mandated edict that said you have to go back.
These people had been here. They've gone through the court system. They had numerous court appearances, all paid for by you and me.
Yes.
Over years. I mean, it's not like these guys came last year. They've been here for, years and years. And the judge has said, you have no basis for asylum, go home.
Already been adjudicated. These aren't people that are just subjectively being thrown out. These are the dregs that have either shown up for their court case and been told that they don't qualify, or those that never showed up for their court case.
Or, in addition, they've had criminal acts committed here, or criminal acts that followed them from their home country, and that's a basis for rejection. But they've been here years and years, and what the left is going to pick on is that they have families and all that. So the husband, the breadwinner, whatever, is the one who's going to be shipped home, and then you're breaking up families. Oh, the worst thing in the world.
Some of the stuff that doesn't get reported are the illegals that are showing up at the border, and they've had stories about reporters saying, well, why'd you leave? Well, I was wanted for murder.
Yeah.
So I left my own country because I was going to be jailed.
Yeah.
If I was Guatemala or Honduras, I did say, get the riffraff out of here.
Yeah. In a way, it's working well for them.
Yeah, exactly.
They're cleaning up and shrinking the workforce, so the people there have more opportunities for jobs.
But once again, if it doesn't affect me, and I'm a liberal, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, you're ripping the children out of the arms. You're keeping these children in cages. The women have to drink out of toilets. Get up. Anyway.
Yeah, and this is the same group of people who don't even acknowledge that infants in the womb are children, which they are. It's just that the ones that they worry about now have a name, and they have cute little faces and things like that, and it's just an unfortunate hypocritical situation.
We use that word way too often, out of necessity, because that's the only way you can describe it, is hypocrisy. Say one thing, do another. Cognitive dissonance. Call it whatever you want, but it's just wrong.
Selective reasoning. Yeah, whatever.
Selective reasoning.
Yep.
How about speaking of abortion? How about the poor little Planned Parenthood president? Was she in office for 9 months?
Yeah, she got whacked out.
She was was she an Asian female doctor?
Yes.
Is that correct?
You nailed it. Yes.
Asian female doctor who was, I believe her specialty was obstetrics and gynecology.
Mm-hmm.
She was thrown out because why? She wouldn't acknowledge the transgender language. She refused to acknowledge that a transgender person who was genetically a male didn't qualify for an abortion.
The DNA don't lie, folks.
Is that not just the most unbelievable
eating their own
set of circumstances you've ever heard?
Yeah, it's you think she's going to rethink her position on abortion? Maybe, just maybe.
Jeez, unbelievable. But anyway, she's gone.
Yeah, but that is another point that I had here.
Yeah,
that a number of the U.S. Organizations, the AMA, the Psychological Society, all these groups that represent blocks of the medical community are swinging more and more to support of abortion. Whether they feel a reason to do so for PR or their members are agitating for it. It's very, very disgusting to see this shift. They should be neutral in these things. It's just very, very sad to see some of these major organizations do this, and I think it will certainly lose them a lot of support, publicly and financially.
You think, financially. You think they're doing it for financial reasons? You think that maybe they're afraid that maybe some grant money's going to get cut off?
One would hope, but again, they have a lot of deep-pocketed donors, like a guy like Soros or Steyer or some of them, who are great believers in keeping the number of people limited.
Yeah. What else you got? You got anything else on there?
I got earthquakes. People probably aren't aware of this. There's been some earthquakes. The California earthquakes about 3 weeks back.
7.1, right?
It was the biggest. Yeah, Ridgecrest just had another one. I think it was 5 or 4.6, something like that. The place that had the ones 3 weeks ago. But there's also been a very big quake in Indonesia. There's been
a lot of people killed.
Yeah, a smaller quake in Japan. So the whole ring of fire, which basically goes down the west coast of the U.S. into South America, goes up through Alaska, Russia, Japan, Indonesia, down through the islands in the Pacific. has been very active. And what some seismologists have said that the amount of major quakes this year is 3 times what they have ever seen in about the last 200 years, or as long as records have been kept. So they're very worried about this number of activity and the strength and magnitude of some of these earthquakes. There is a group of people who are very concerned about Yellowstone National Park, which basically sits in the crater of an old volcano that blew up a long time ago. And they're seeing very unexplained and unusual geyser activity. Some of the geysers that typically would pop off maybe once a year, they're going like every 3 days. So for all you people who worry about this sort of thing, you have more to worry about.
More to worry. Just another thing to worry about.
Yeah, there you
the
go.
plates, they are a-shifting, okay?
The plates are moving.
The plates are moving.
And I'm waiting for like some congressperson to say, well, why don't we just get some oil and like lubricate those plates?
Yeah. Well, you know what? That'd probably be Hank Johnson, our brainchild from Georgia, who thought that an island was going to tip over because there were too many Army people on the edge of the island.
Wow.
It made
American protectorate.
tip.
Yeah, it made
That
tip.
you want to have some fun. You want to have a lot of good laughs. Go look at YouTube on Hank Johnson's gaffes, and they are many. Let me tell you, and the one's funnier than the next. You can't believe someone would espouse that's been elected to public office. Well, yeah, you can. Anyway, the good news is, speaking of natural catastrophes, the good news is out of Katrina came a lot of control methods that were put into a place that's near and dear to your heart, and that's southern Louisiana, down there in Nolens. Nolens. They put the pumps in place, right?
Well, they had pumps before. They finally got them all working.
Yeah. Again, infrastructure. Jeez, what a concept.
But a number of the levees that were overtopped in Katrina, they've built them up higher, stronger. I mean, they had some pretty, lousy levees down there. But, still, it's a man-made system, and, you get a big one, there still could be issues.
But thankfully,
this held. And
it wasn't nearly as bad. Granted, a lot of rainfall, a lot of flooding. People are still drying out, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been.
Right. But the Mississippi River.
When old Ray Nagin was in charge.
Oh boy,
wasn't that him?
Chocolate City. Yeah. Chocolate City.
Where are the buses, Ray?
Yeah,
they could be underwater, I think.
That was very unfortunate. Ray ended up doing some prison time for other things, but that's another story. But the Mississippi River at Baton Rouge has been in flood stage for 190 days.
Woo!
Which is already a record. And they're saying with this rain that's coming from Berry going up the Mississippi Valley, and even into the Ohio River Valley, they said it could well be at flood stage through the end of August into September.
Wow.
Which would be just unbelievable.
Well, it's all a result of a late winter, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is.
Yeah.
That and some, well, you can't anticipate weather. It's going to happen.
It's climate change.
Climate change.
The end is near.
Yeah. Seed the clouds. What are those contrails up there? Is that the government acting on...
What is that? Aluminum hydrate? Aluminum foil?
Aluminum foil. Oh, good night. Well, if it's going to rain this weekend, you got one alternative that could be fun for a lot of you golf aficionados, and that is what they now call the Open will take place. Another cog in the wheel of major championships.
British Open?
I was wondering, maybe Josh knows, when did they just decide that it was going to be called the Open instead of the British Open? Yeah, and all of a sudden it just became, it was like...
I still see a lot of
Does it have anything to do with Brexit?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe they exited out. Maybe they don't say the British Open because sometimes it's maybe held in, I don't know, Ireland, Wales. I don't know.
It's in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Northern
Yeah.
Ireland, Whatever.
Yeah, we got any interest in watching that, Josh? Any favorites on the horizon?
It's Graham McDowell's home course, so I think he's going to
Couple local
well
boys,
there.
right?
I've been keeping up with it all morning.
Who is that?
Graham McDowell.
Oh, Graham McDowell.
Yep, it's his home course, and it's Rory McIlroy's home course.
You know, I think he uses
McIlroy, too.
I think he uses Mizuno irons. That old Graham guy.
He might.
He might. The other guy to look for, I believe, is Adam Scott. Adam
I
Scott.
liked him, but he started out
You're
rough.
not Brooks?
He did
Koepka?
start out rough.
Yeah, I think he's already 3 or 4 over.
Oh boy,
Well, you hear Rory? He had a
A quad on the
quadruple
first hole.
bogey on the first hole.
did he really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you, you know, have you ever
That's the
played
shakes.
one of those courses,
Uh-huh.
Josh, where, you know, there's nothing but weeds and sand traps?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
And a strong ocean breeze.
And a strong ocean breeze, yeah, and a lot of rain and a lot of wind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Rory set the course record there at 16 years old with a 62. It's his home course, so everybody thought he was going to win it, but he had that quadruple bogey.
Wow.
I mean, he can bounce back though.
Yeah. The other thing that just happened, epic tennis match. Wimbledon, if you didn't catch it, I mean, you know, I watched it here and there. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was Djokovic versus Federer, probably two of the, if not the 2 top players, at least 2 of the 3 top players. Nadal got beat by Federer in another epic match, but they went to a 5-set tiebreaker after the new rules that were put in place when the guy from Georgia, what's his name, Iger or something like that, the tennis player. Anyway, he did like a 25-game tiebreak marathon because in Wimbledon rules, if you go 5 sets, you don't play a tiebreaker. You just keep playing and you have to win by 2. Well, he went to like 25 games, and they said, enough of that. If you get to 12 games without a winner by 2, then you go to a 12-point tiebreaker. And Federer just has not been very good on tiebreakers. Djokovic beat him. It was a great, great match. Kudos to those guys who really, really are. John Isner, that's it. Thank you.
Does that
Yeah.
go back to the days of you know, the epic matches with Jimmy Connors, McEnroe?
Oh yeah, I mean those were
Boris Becker.
Borg and McEnroe had some epic matches.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean they were phenomenal. It was a different type of game then. I mean, if you go back and you look at the smaller rackets, it was more finesse. These guys are just wham, just, you know, baseline
Power
to
game.
baseline, power. Not a lot of chip and run and, you know, running to the net at every point, even though there's a lot of that. Anyway, I digress. Tennis, great game to watch. Golf, be fun over the weekend if it's pouring rain and you got nothing to do and you're not a NASCAR fan, go watch the Open.
And I guess it's about time for us to power out of here.
Yeah, we need to power out of here. I need to power toward Atlanta. I've got a meeting down there. So hopefully my wife is waiting for me in the parking lot. Bruce, thanks for bringing me in this morning.
You're welcome.
Thanks for sharing the 2 hours with me.
Hey.
It's always fun to be here. Don't forget tomorrow, Sycamore Crossing, the All-Star panel. Jane will be with us, and we will join Lauren Hunter tomorrow. And we'll see the doc, we'll see the pet of the week, and we'll see Jesse. And Josh will hopefully see you tomorrow, because without you, we can't do it. And we are out.